Welcome back to the Hollywood Redux Podcast. On today's episode, we're taking a little trip to Skull Island and talking to our friend King Kong.
She brought props.
Yeah. Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to another fine edition of the Hollywood Redux Podcast. I'm your host, Matt.
I'm Katie.
I'm Kryzzalia. We're coming at you from HollywoodRedux.com.
That's right. We're talking about King Kong Skull Island today. A little small story, very heartfelt, lots of dramatic, emotional moments between humans. I'm sorry.
It's a small movie with a big ape with a big heart.
It's a huge, action-packed adventure story that involves an ensemble of scientists and soldiers and warmongers and anti-war people and
a lot of the cast from Straight Outta Compton.
Yes, Dr. Dre and Eazy-E.
He was in there, man.
So that's the beginning of the story.
Is
Is John Goodman and Dr. Dre want to go on an adventure to
Corey Hawkins.
find King Kong. Yes, the actor. We should give him a shout out. He's a great actor. He's a tremendous actor.
Also on 24.
Completely transformed for this role from Dr. Dre. And
from both those roles, he plays badasses, and then he's like a nerdy guy. So that's kind of cool.
He was like a Princeton grad. He was a geologist. He was a scientist. He was a really smart character, and so he and John Goodman go on this embark on this journey John Goodman wants to kill King Kong from a World War II encounter with him.
He had his Quint on the boat from Jaws.
It was very
story.
Quint adjacent. Yeah.
Those eyes.
Well, it invigorated him to go kill King Kong anyway.
Yeah.
And so now he's got like a soldier escort, which includes Samuel L. Jackson's Colonel Packard character, which is like
awesome.
The Full Metal Jacket drill sergeant, as played by Samuel L. Jackson, but in war in the shit. Which I really liked Samuel L. Jackson's performance in this. We can talk about that for sure.
He's got some memorable lines.
Yeah, he's got some good lines.
Didn't get a full mother effer out though.
He did get something else, though, which was pretty good.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah, there you go. And then, of course, we meet Brie Larson, an anti-war photographer who is embedded with Vietnam, the Vietnamese side of the war in Vietnam.
She's like an anti-war photographer.
And Tom Hiddleston, Loki, here playing the hero, getting to play the hero.
James Comrade of the SAS.
Yes, he had a very stiff upper lip in this. He was extremely British in this, but rip shit though.
Yeah, man, he was extremely handsome.
Like the tanned bronze.
I mean, tell me you didn't feel safe
version of that guy.
Are you kidding me? Of course you felt safe around Tom Hiddleston.
Yeah, I mean, I actually could see. I was like, this is like a prerequisite to playing James Bond. This character. This is like an Indiana Jones stiff upper lip British person.
Well, yeah, I mean, we got to just see him kicking ass, not in a giant metallic wardrobe that's ridiculous. Mm-hmm. You know. He was just wearing a t-shirt and pants, and he was kicking some ass. Except for, there's one scene where he's in, and if you've never seen one of our reviews, there are some spoilers ahead.
Oh, yeah,
so
heads up,
if
spoilers.
you have not seen the movie yet, I suggest going and seeing it at least. It's a really fun movie, but we're going to talk about it right now and spoil it. So if you don't want to be spoiled, turn this review off. Check out one of our other ones.
Or go watch the movie and then come back.
Yeah, there's a link in the description below for something else. So he has this scene where the gas comes out. And it is the most pointless, over-the-top sequence, just to show him being really hot.
And really badass.
And really badass because he's like, look out, it's the gas, and he's just grabbing the mask, samurai sword, fucking Bruce Leeing, not even perfectly choreographed episode 1 style choreography of just swing, 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 cutting
slow
those
motion.
Saw pterodactyls in half, no problem. And there's even that one shot right towards camera, he's slicing through, and it's Tom Hiddleston. It's
talk about a great intro. That should have been his intro to something.
But for the most part, and then he's just in the middle of the gas after he does this, he's sexy, still in the gas.
Yeah.
Runs up to help the guy. So what was the point of the gas mask in the first? Anyway, I don't know. But that was pointless.
Because it looked cool.
It looked
and
cool.
He's Tom and he can't.
And that's the thing.
There were a few times that this movie did this.
There's a few times where the movie was they cited
this
on.
This will be cool.
This will look cool versus this makes total sense. And the acting, I think it's just it's a nod to the directing and to the cast, because we were talking about this right after the movie where it was we just watched a giant ape movie and we felt emotions in it, and we felt excitement, we felt fear, we felt anxiety, whatever it is. Like, we were in a reclined seat watching
we went for
this.
the ride, yeah.
And Kryzzalia put the recliner up and sat on the edge of her seat still.
Yeah.
Like, it was cool. And, you know, and it's because the acting was so good.
So good.
You know, the framing was so cool that, like, when there's only 5 helicopters on the giant ship going out to the island, and then when 4 helicopters take off, with a great Samuel L. Jackson moment where he says, "And as always, hold on to your butts." Everybody in the theater was like, "Fuck yeah."
Everyone lost it.
Sidebar, that was the moment that I realized that we had gone through to the other universe, is when Samuel L. Jackson started quoting himself
Yeah.
from other movies in this movie.
Just shows you
That
we're
was
back.
the moment. I was like, we're through the looking glass now. Here we go.
And it's like 5 helicopters take off. You only see 5 helicopters on the ship. And then it just cuts to a shot where there's at least 10 helicopters flying immediately afterwards. And I spent like the next few minutes, like, there's a whole cool sequence where they go through the storm. And it's got a great shot on that Nixon bobblehead on the storm and the close up.
So good.
And then like it goes through the storm into the clear skies. And there's another cool moment where they go back to that Nixon thing where the plane's crashing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was really cool. And but like, again, they're in that whole cool sequence where like Samuel L. Jackson's quoting the Icarus story, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I didn't get into that because the whole time I'm like, wait a second, where the fuck were all those helicopters before? Like, were they underneath the ship?
Yeah.
Was there like a bow thing, you know? And there's just a lot of cool action sequences that happen throughout this. Like, this movie is very cool.
Yeah.
They show a lot of the cool stuff in the trailers, but there's like just insane amounts of moments where you never feel safe in this movie. You know, like the bamboo area with the giant spider, you know.
Well, I'm so glad you said the trailers really quickly, because the trailers really didn't justify the movie at all. Like, it actually doesn't.
Yes,
How would
we saw this footage at Comic-Con, and when we saw it at Comic-Con, they pitched it as a Vietnam War movie on Skull Island, and that sounded cool. And the footage they showed us looked really cool. And then the trailers just have all this like poppy, like super studio filled like
Great shots,
stuff,
like,
but it really does not justify the movie. It makes it look kind of slapsticky with John C. Reilly, and his character is genuinely rather, you know, serious. So like when he's saying those things like, "Hey, you're all gonna die out here. We shouldn't come out here." It's not as funny as it seems in the trailer. It's like a very serious moment.
He's serious.
He's trying to get everybody to like go the other way. You know,
he's trying to save your life.
And he was great. He was awesome in this movie. And then he has a great scene at the end that made everybody cry. You know, would have been a perfect moment for Michael to have his moment of teardrop, turn face. You know.
Yeah, John C. Reilly, I think, was the real winner here in terms of performance, because every single thing he said as this character, I believed him. When he was talking about how there's a bird sound and it's an ant, he gives this really funny little like anecdote about how you think it's a bird. No, it's an ant, and they're giant ants. And every word he says has this meaning where you feel like he definitely thought that was a bird and then had to fight for his life against a gigantic ant.
Yeah, you hear like a ah. And he's like, it sounds like a bird, but it's a fucking ant, and it's the size of a car. Like, it's huge. Yeah, no, it's he's.
And there were
really
a lot
great.
of moments like that. Every moment that he got to talk to you about Skull Island was really really fun.
Well, like his
had
character,
great meaning.
we
and
follow his character from the beginning of the movie. He bookends the movie.
Yeah,
You know,
it's really
and,
his story, sort of.
You know, I really he has the most time. I feel like in the overall arc, he has the most story arc out of everybody.
I mean, I had the sense that the whole point of the movie, even though for most of the movie you did not know it was John C. Reilly's story at all, you had this beginning moment with his character, but he's young at that point, so you don't know it's him. And then this whole movie takes place, and then you meet him 3/4 of the way through, and then he gets you through to the other side. And then he has this epilogue, and my sense of it is that the entire movie was
his character
how
for
he
him.
gets off Skull Island, was like the Skull Island of his heart, like how one can go home from war. The Samuel L. Jackson character talks about that. It says like, you can't go home from war. Somebody says it like, you can't go home from war. And I feel like that was like the answer to that question is John C. Reilly's character. This is how you go home from war. And it's this tale of yourself where you maybe send in the army to fight because you think you have to destroy something, but destroying it, you destroy yourself and you hurt yourself, and so you find the true way through, which is like we have to work together and understanding and blah, 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 you know, like whatever messages you want to take away from it.
And he in the beginning and at the end he meets his son, and his son is the same actor who played young him in the beginning of the movie. So it was a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah, and they made a point to have his character befriend. At the very opening, he's fighting a Japanese soldier on Skull Island. Yeah, Gunpei. And then by the end, you learn that actually, over the course of their time together on the island, they became friends.
Family.
And he's like, he takes his sword with him, like he can't bear to leave his body. Like Gunpei's dead. He can't like bear to leave the body. So it's like also a story about that too, of like they were at war, then they became friends.
Did you forget that we were talking about Kong Skull Island for a minute? We're still talking about a giant ape fighting a two-legged dinosaur thing with a bunch of Vietnam soldiers, epic fucking sequences of, like, crashes that you see in the trailer, like giant spider monsters, giant, like, skull crawlers, some amazing camera work and direction by Jordan Vogt-Roberts. Like, he did a great job with, like, where he put the camera, how he moved, like, the whole, like, church of the people that, like, live on the island is amazing so with good. All the movement and, like, revealing their whole past. Very creative, very well done. The acting is top-notch. Everybody seemed to have a lot of fun putting this together, and they took it very serious, which allows you to just, like, forget that you're watching a 300-foot-tall ape fighting a dinosaur with, like, stripping a tree of its branches and using it like a baseball bat. You forget about all that ridiculous shit because you're like, God damn, this movie's fucking good.
It's a movie that you expect to be bad, and you walk out saying, holy shit, I want to see that again.
Yeah, what the hell? We're seeing it again.
And my favorite is that Brie Larson got to have all these great little scenes with Samuel L. Jackson, where both characters got to face off and basically say, like, this is why war is great, this is why we need war, and its answer, and both get to play out in the story.
Yeah, I mean, because that's a cool part about her is she gets the job, and her name's Mason Weaver. So when she shows up to the scientific, like, ship to go on this mission, everybody's like, you're a woman? Like, they had no idea. And, like, the rest of the movie, that was the last time you ever get to have a moment. And she's like, yeah, I am. Walks right on the ship. And you never get a sense of, like, a normal movie is, like, damsel in distress in this moment, especially for Kong movies, you know? But this one, she was a badass. She was equal. There was nobody in this movie, even the scientists who started, like, scared to get off the boat, had guns at the end and were sitting there shooting things and, like, blowing shit up and having to, you know, going crazy. So, like, there was just so much,
it was a
like,
fair share all around.
Yeah, there wasn't anybody, like, there was no, you know, it was very a neutral movie.
Yeah, no one
really
overpowered
cool.
anyone.
Yeah, and everybody just had great lines, you know. I mean, Hold On to Your Butts was great to hear Samuel L. Jackson say again, but, like, there's a scene where Samuel L. Jackson and John Goodman sit down, and it's in the trailer. It's like, hey, man, you need to tell me what you need to know, or I'm going to blow your head off. And in that scene, it's so great. Like, John Goodman is, like, both crazy and scary and, like, you know, like, gratified. Like, it's weird.
One of the negatives on the movie that I had is that I thought John Goodman's character was a little underwritten. You know, he got some great lines, and that character, he acted the hell out of it. But in terms of he only had Monarch Corp, his whole agenda, he just gave it all in, like, one, like, expository.
I'm wondering if they didn't have him for as much, you know?
Where he just was like, and this is why we must kill Kong. And you're like...
Yeah, because, like, you don't see him a lot.
Information, John Goodman.
It just kind of cuts to him. Like, you never see him in, like, all those big shots with everybody walking around. So I'm wondering if they just maybe didn't have him, you know, or something like that. And they just they only had him for, you know, that happens. You got to use a body double for wide shots and stuff like that.
Yeah, and he dies fairly quickly. So it's like, oh, I love John Goodman so much.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
You know, and just like John Goodman, we don't judge people by where they drink, just how they hold it. And that's going to do it for us this week. Let us know what you thought about our review in the comments below. Be sure to give us a thumbs up if you liked it. But for the Hollywood Redux Podcast, I'm Matt. You can find me at Splashdown1 on all social media.
I'm Katie. I'm at K Moles.
I'm Kryzzalia, and I'm at Kryzzalia on all social medias. And you can find us at hollywoodredux.com.
Thank you so much for doing that.
Got it.
Be sure to check us out every Monday and tomorrow, the IGL Podcast. See you guys.
Bye, thanks.
Hey guys, did you like our King Kong review? Let us know in the comments below. While you're at it, give us a thumbs up. Check out some of the options to our side over here. Maybe you can subscribe, see our store, or even check out another review. Thank you. See you next time.